Hey everyone, welcome to Find Your Flow. I'm Natalie and you're watching day 2 of Release, yoga for upper body relief. So we're going to be sending a lot of love to the spine, the front body and the chest, the shoulders, biceps, triceps and all of that space. So hop into something super comfy and I'll meet you on the mat. Okay, so jumping right into our comfortable seat on the mat. You can always use a chair if you want to here, if it doesn't feel great at the moment to get down and cross the knees or anything like that. So whenever you find your seat, lift up tall through the spine, soften the shoulders and release the arms just wherever they feel most comfortable. And then come to close the eyes or soften the gaze. Really feeling this connection to the earth through our seat, whether we're on the ground or on our chair. Just start to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And we curl up the corners of the mouth, just smiling slightly, hoping to release any tension we might be holding from the face. And then on your next inhale, we're going to bring the shoulders all the way up near to the ears. And your exhale, release, drop them down 2 more times. Inhaling to lift, closing the gap between the shoulders and the ears, and exhale to release. Lovely, once more. And then keeping the eyes closed if we can. We're just going to cycle the shoulders forwards. Keeping this nice and soft though. And then cycling back in the opposite direction. Really bringing them up near the ears and then round, back and away. And then coming back to stillness. And taking 3 more natural breaths. Keeping the length through our spine. And do we have a little bit more space now? And on your final exhale, start to take the gaze over to the right. You can keep the eyes closed if you like to, or open them. And sending our gaze down, but staying in the bottom right corner. Bringing the chin down towards the chest. And then over to the left, staying in the bottom left corner. And lifting our gaze over to the left. Up towards the top left corner, staying there for 1 breath. And coming to the center. And then over to the top right corner. Stay there for 1 breath. Lovely. And we're going to reverse our circle in the opposite direction. So coming to lift the gaze back up. Over to the left. And down towards the bottom. Coming through the center. Over to the right. Lifting towards the top right. And coming all the way back, gazing forwards. Nice. Now everybody open the eyes. We're going to send the fingertips back behind us, lifting the heart space forwards, lifting our gaze. And staying here as we send the shoulders really actively away from the ears. Either keeping this space between the hands, or if this feels great, we might like this release in the chest, interlacing the hands, sending the knuckles down and away. Wherever you are, finding one more breath here. Before curling the chin towards the chest, rounding through the spine, palms floating together at the front of our mat. Again, either staying here or interlacing the hands, reaching the palms away. Nice. We're going to do this 2 more times, a little bit quicker, finding this fluidity oiling through the spine, waking up the joints. Lovely. And coming all the way back to center, bringing the palms together at the heart. And everybody lifting the hands towards the sky, so reaching from the fingertips, lengthening the arms. Keeping the body rooted down to your seat, keeping the shoulders soft. And then we're going to flip the fingertips down towards the ground, take them behind the back body, so down through the crown of the head, the back of the head to the neck, and start to release them down the back. But know that this won't go really, really far, so just wherever we are, being aware that we're not creating this collapse and this rounding. We're keeping the chest lifted and the spine long. And if the palms together is too much, we can bring the hands either side of the shoulder blades. Just being really aware of keeping this lift in the elbows. And finding one more breath here. Before releasing the arms, just shrugging the shoulders up and down, up and down one more time. And then bringing the hands to the elbows. We're going to find these nice big circles back, round and forwards. Gorgeous. And when you've gone 3 times one way, reversing your circle in the opposite direction. So really imagine that you're carving a big circle through space with the elbow. Notice everything else that's moving though as we find these circles. So listen to all of the movements we're making in the shoulder girdle, the upper back, and coming back to center. We'll send our right hand down to the ground and reach our left hand towards the sky, keeping this nice lift before folding over to the right side. Really breathing into this space in our side body. We can come down onto the forearm if this space, if this feels good, but maybe that's for another day entirely. Keeping our heart space radiating towards the sky. We can look towards the sky if this feels good in the neck, finding one more breath. As we exhale, send the left hand down onto the ground next to the right. Lifting onto the fingertips, we're going to find some length as we open to a twist. Finding one more breath here before floating all the way back to center. Left hand down, right hand reaches for the sky. Finding this length before folding all the way over, and find something new here. Maybe you've done this pose 100 or 1,000 times. Really experience something new. Where do you feel your breath the most here? Gazing up if you feels good for you. And on your next exhale, release the right hand down, lift onto the fingertips, and wake up the body with this juicy twist. So finding this lovely rotation through the thoracic spine, finding this movement through the rib cage as we keep tall, massaging all of our internal organs and breathing deep. Lovely, one more breath here. Before floating all the way back to center, we're going to lift off our support now and come down to the ground. So taking our knees nice and wide, big toes come into touch. We're going to sit straight back in a child's pose. Hips down on the heels, take as much support as you want to, perhaps underneath the hips, underneath the forehead as we soften down to the ground. Everybody reaching the arms forwards. You can take as generous a bend in the elbows as you like to, being really kind to the shoulders and upper space of the body. And then walking the fingers and the palms over to the right side of the mat. Maybe they reach off, maybe the left hand comes on top. Really feel what you feel here and move in a way that feels good. Keep rooting down through the hips and the heels as we float the hands through center and over to the left. Nice, coming all the way back. We're going to lift the hips, but keep our forearms and palms down as we walk our knees back, finding our puppy posture or heart to earth pose. So the hips stay over the knees and we soften our heart down towards the ground. A few options here that you might like to take in the hands. Perhaps tenting the palms, so lifting onto the fingertips. Or we can walk the elbows a little bit further forward, palms come together and they lift behind the back of the head. Now all of these options are just options, so if this doesn't feel good for you, just come to the original posture and through time we'll find space and maybe revisit one of them another day, perhaps 5-10 years from now. One more breath here before lifting gently into a tabletop all fours. With the wrists beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips, we're going to explore cat pose. So rolling the tailbone down, arching through the spine, dropping the gaze, really arching that back, picturing your angry cat. And then lifting the tailbone, coming to cow pose, rolling through the spine, lifting the gaze. Nice, keeping the fingers spread wide on the ground. 2 more times, floating the tailbone down, really feeling what you feel here. Again, if you've done this 1,000 times, that's great, but just being really present with what we feel right now in this moment. You might like to close the eyes or soften the gaze for our last cat pose. And last cow pose. And as we close our eyes, can we maybe notice a little more the transition to the posture rather than just the experience when we get there and how that feels. Coming all the way back to our neutral spine, tucking the toes under, sitting back on the heels. Reaching the arms all the way out, we'll press through the palms as we float the hips high, downward facing dog. Easy down dog here, just pedal through the heels, bend the knees as much as we like to. And actually we're going to find stillness here, something that we don't often do in our down dog. So bending the knees even more generously than we normally would do. We're going to soften the stomach down towards the thighs, really generously. Just enjoy this release in the shoulders and in the upper back body. And we're finding one more full breath here. And walking the hands back to the feet. Down, forward fold. Crown of the head down towards the ground, keeping the knees nice and bent, and just swaying from side to side, releasing. Coming back to center, staying here, or reaching the arms behind you if that feels good, reaching them towards the sky. And again, we might like to keep the space between the hands or interlace and send the knuckles all the way up and over. Wherever we are, keeping the face soft. Feeling the ground through each part of our foot, through each of our toes, the outer edge, the inner arch, the heel, the ball of the foot. One more breath here before slowly releasing the arms, bringing them down in front, heavy like a rag doll, as we root down to rise up to standing. Coming to our mountain pose and just shaking it out, releasing in the shoulders, shaking the hands, the legs, the feet, the wrists. And then we'll come to our mountain pose, feet hips distance apart, toes tracking forwards, keeping this soft bend in the knees. We are going to explore Gomukhasana arms, so cow arms. We can use our strap tie or belt if we have one here. And we're going to take the left hand behind and underneath, so we're coming from the lower half of our back body, and then the right hand all the way up towards the sky and then back. So we're coming to meet the hands through the center of our back, but if the hands don't reach, that's fine. We can use the support we'll need, whatever we want to take from our props to help bridge the gap between the hands as we explore this lift in the heart, this lift in the right elbow. Lovely. One more breath here before releasing and coming straight onto the other side. Right hand underneath, left hand reaches all the way towards the sky and then back. And you'll notice how one side might feel really different to the other. So you might need a lot of support on one side, not so much on the other. Just really being present, enjoying this, smiling and breathing. Finding one more breath before releasing the arms, curling the chin towards the chest and rolling all the way down to the ground. Walking the hands forwards, coming into our downward facing dog, lifting the hips high, pedal through the left heel, pedal through the right heel, and then rolling the shoulders forwards over the wrists. We're going to curl through the spine, wave forwards, come into our plank pose. Knees can be lifted or lowered. We're just taking one of these today. If we're caring for the back body, we've got to care for the front body. So we're strengthening our deep abdominal muscles to help protect our back. Really keep lifting away from the earth as we lift out of our shoulder space. Sending away through the heels if the knees are lifted. Find one more breath here before sending the knees down. Elbows float behind us and we come down to the ground. Taking our feet nice and wide on the earth and walking our hands off our mat. So bringing our fingertips to the ground, tenting the palms. Breathing in. And on your breath out, lifting the heart space forwards, rising, cobra. And we're taking a variation in the arms here to help find a bit more space in the front body and the back body. Breathing in, breathing out, releasing. 2 more times we're going to do this. So lifting on your exhale. Keeping the head, neck in alignment with the spine, so we're not crunching back or dropping forwards. Shoulders away from the ears. Nice. Then coming back down onto the ground. When you're ready, we'll reach both arms out wide. And then crossing, bending the left leg. We'll then cross the left foot over towards the right side of our mat. And if the foot doesn't come to the ground, that's fine. We can take some support underneath the foot if we like to, so it's not just hanging. Next option is to take the left hand around and reach it towards the left foot. Again, a strap is a great bit of help here if we want to bridge the gap between our hand and our foot. Or we can stay here with the hand on the foot and kick away. But only do what there's space to do so today, move in a way that feels great. Finding 3 breaths here. And after your final exhale, really slowly releasing and unraveling back to center. Just take a moment to bring the hands together and wiggle the hips out from side to side. And then coming all the way back, arms open. If you're like me, you have to maneuver your way into space in the room. That's okay. You're going to bend the right knee and send it over towards the left side of the mat. Then taking what support you need here. Maybe you reach behind with the right arm, take the foot in the hand and find space. 3 nice long breaths. Notice where your attention lies here. Is it straight away running to the shoulder space or the chest and going, oh, you know, screaming? If so, can we calm this down? Can we channel into each inhale and each exhale? Lovely. Slowly releasing, coming back to center. Taking the hands together as we just wiggle the hips from side to side. And then bringing the hands either side of the rib cage, lightly pressing up into our low plank. And then taking the knees wider as we jump into a tabletop. Reaching down through the right hand, we'll float the left hand towards the sky and we're going to thread the needle. Thread the left hand through and under the bridge of the right arm. Coming to rest here on the left ear. Taking the support you might need underneath the head and neck. Option to keep the right hand pressing away or send it around for the small of the back. Lovely. One more breath here before pressing down through the right palm to reach the left hand towards the sky. Finding space and softening, coming straight into the other side. Left hand roots down, right hand reaches, and we thread the needle. Notice this rotation through the rib cage as we twist, sending so much love to our back, body and spine. Option to send the left hand around to the small of the back. Finding one more breath here before pressing through the left palm, reaching for the sky, unraveling and softening. Coming straight back to our tabletop but opening the knees wide, bringing the feet together and sitting back, child's pose. Really making child's pose your own. If we do have the space, we might like to make this a more active child's pose, so tenting the palms, lifting onto the fingertips, or walking the elbows forward, palms together behind the back body, behind the head. And really enjoy this moment of stillness. And can we recognize here why it is we hold so much tension in our upper back, in the arms, in the mid back, the lower back, in the chest. Just really be aware of this reason. Maybe we don't know, maybe we just think, oh, I'm just quite tight here, or perhaps we think, oh no, I work at a desk, or I drive a lot, or I work out in the gym and spend a lot of time tightening the muscles. And just really, whatever it is, there's no judgment, there's no right or wrong, we're just being aware of this reason. And asking ourselves here if we can maybe send a little more love to this space a little more often. And it's through the strength and the flexibility combined together of our body that we find mobility. And that's what we want. We want to feel good for as long as we can. So you might like to stay here in your child's pose. If this pose is great for you, then awesome, do that. Or we have an option to really slowly lift up and out of our balasana and either come to the ground lying down in shavasana and corpse pose, or finding a comfortable seat, lifting our hips off. Just choose how you want to end your practice today, taking into account your energy levels, the day or the week you might have just had. Wherever we are, we'll meet, closing the eyes or softening the gaze. Floating the palms together if you can where you are, or keeping them rested where they fall naturally. Acknowledging the divine light in each and every one of us. I thank you so much for joining me for this practice today. And from my heart to yours, Namaste.